Hello everyone. Our next panel is called Optimizing Performance, Science, Data and Human Potential. Please welcome Mustafa Abu Samra, Radenko Matic, Danilo Vukotic, Igor Tomic, and our moderator, Stevo Popovic. Enjoy.
Is it working? Ah, it's working. Hello. I would like to open the panel discussion under the title Optimizing Performance, Science, Data and Human Potential. We're supposed to have 4 speakers and 1 moderator. That's me. But we changed the time of the panel. Unfortunately, in front 1 hour, so probably our 4th panelist didn't get to reach this time. So we'll start. If he can't, just send it to us to join. We will have 3 blocks. I already informed you. So we will talk about 3 different topics. And the first block will be focused on foundations of performance. We have 3 speakers. Next to me is Danilo Vukotic from Football Association of Montenegro. Next to him is Radenko Matic. He's professor at Faculty of Sport and Physical Education at the University of Novi Sad. And the third one is Mustafa Abu Samra from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. And the institution is Healthy Gaming, right? So now we will start. The first question we would like to discuss is what does optimizing performance actually mean today? Are we talking about physical output, mental capacity, or something more holistic? So I will start from in different order. So this question will start Professor Radenko Matic, and I would like to know from a scientific perspective, what are the biggest shifts in understanding human performance in the last 10 to 15 years?
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Dear moderator, dear organizers, thank you for your invitation, and also huge thanks to our colleagues in the audience. Let's start with a response on your question. In my career of 20 years in sports management field in higher education, I can highlight 4 biggest changes in 10 to 15 years. So first change is the field of sports science is developed vastly, increased a lot. We have at this moment 35,000 publications per year in different specific disciplines in framework of sports sciences, sports psychology, sports sociology, sports marketing, management, biomechanics, and we got many information in real time how we can improve from theory to the field our results and optimization in context of sport performance. So we need to select which inspiration is useful for us, how we can select some specific information from big data and put them into the field. So in my opinion, the first biggest change is the sport science is developed vastly. Second, sport diagnostic is developed and increased a lot. At this moment, we can collect many data, big data, from different aspects, from aspects of injury, rehabilitation, prevention, training, from matches, and we can measure on everyday basis. Before 10 and 15 years ago, it wasn't possible, but now we can measure everything with the cheap and so expensive technology. So, from my opinion, from aspect of sports management, it is so important to make a quality decision in the context of managing of sports organization. And thirdly, I can highlight the sports management is so digitalized in this time. For example, Sports Cloud Australia support on digital way, support sports organization, association, collect all data for the sports ecosystem and support organization to be better in the future, and also provide opportunity for personalized development of athletes and also personalized development of sports organization. And lastly, incorporation AI technologies is also a big shift because AI in sport management in the sport sciences provide for us many opportunities for create a good conceptual model, good model for some kind of prediction, injury risk, prevention in sport, rehabilitation, training programs, and how to turn real advantages of our athletes into real competitive advantage at the field. And it is a good opportunity for us to improve our field situation and also sport business in overall. And if I want to summarize all of this which I mentioned, I can say that we made some kind of transformation in the last 10 to 15 years from old-fashioned diagnostics and way of managing a sports organization to new contemporary approaches, which is quality good for making a good decision for developing our sport.
Thank you, Professor Matic. It's very good to start from the scientific perspective. So now we should go to the practice. The next question is supposed to be directed to Paralympic sport, but as we don't have this panelist here, we'll switch directly to football. Football is one or the most popular sport in the world. We know how many differences can raise if you apply it well. And I would like to ask Danilo Kutic, how early should the structured performance development begin in football, and where the system usually breaks? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, today's kids have a chance to start with practice at 4 or 5 years age at football schools of football. So they start to play, to train some easy games, but as I can see from previous years, since I'm working with FA, it's that like structural development starts at age of 13 to 14, I think. That's where they started with the first selections. So they go to the national teams, they have bigger opportunities in the clubs. So from 13, I think it's period when the guy or the girl know some boundaries of herself or himself. So, but also that data with when they start to train at 4, 5, 6 years old is also have that, as I can say, bad conditions for developing of the kid, because usually a lot of kids start too early to be professional footballers, I can say. So they overheat until 15 and 16 years old, they are already burned out. So that's that part when system usually fails.
So in scientific literature, you can find it as an early specialization that is not recommended for that age. But if they like football, they have to start playing it, but through the games and everything that's recommended from the scientific side.
I think now a lot of athletes through the world, England, Belgium, and everything, for their kids, they don't have any competitive matches until they are 14 or 15.
So it's much more
just
based on the
yeah.
games.
No tactics, not just play, make yourself fun.
So they need to improve the basic ones.
That's it.
So we will, as we are part of the Montenegro Festival and one of the main topics is technology and integrating esports into traditional sport and trying to find this relationship and things of working together, especially in the areas that we combine traditional sport and e-sport. Mustafa Abu Samra from Healthy Gaming is here, and I would like to ask you, can digital environments actually enhance cognitive and performance skills? And where is the line between benefit and risk? Because we talk so much during our conference also and discuss it a lot. Is it safe or not? What are the benefits and what are the risks? It's very important to explain and conclude and send a message how we can improve these areas and how we can get the best benefits from all the areas.
Thank you. This is actually a really good question because digital environments can definitely enhance performance, but only when it's structured and intentional. We have seen gaming and how much it affects decision making, working under pressure, understanding risk tolerance for specific individuals, as well as working as a team and communication. And these are transferable skills that you don't just need it in gaming. You actually can transfer it not just other traditional sports, but even to the professional sector. And in 2022, we did a research with an esports team that was asking a very interesting question to us. They were saying, why do we see players at their peak in esports for only 2 or 3 years maximum, and then they start to decline way faster than any other traditional sport? So we worked for them for, I believe, 18 months. We did questionnaires, and we did actually a lot of research with most of their players, as well as other players from other organizations and clubs. And we reached out the point that due to the fact that the industry is still rising, hasn't reached its full maturity yet, these players are not properly introduced to the best way to take care of their physical and mental health. And if they do fix that, and we have done an actual test on some of the players for our methodology, like fixing their sleep patterns, calorie intake, dietary exercises, and take care of their mental health, we've seen a huge increase in their performance, and not just performance, but performance lifespan as well. And we've seen that over, instead of just rising, we expected to see it within the next couple of years, but actually we saw results in speed, traction, and actually better teamwork and better communication, and less ability to lose your mental focus within 3 months. Within 3 months, we saw physical improvement and enhancement. And in esports, it's a bit different than other sports because it's the most digitalized sport out of all of them, and it's a lot easier to collect data because data part is already integrated in every game. As long as the publisher is interested in being part of esports, you'll find that every bit of data that can be collected is already collected in that game. So you can analyze the performance, the response time, the decline or increase of that response time, and how fast they're doing it over time. I mean, every professional player have a response time history that you can say on, especially like private shooter games or MOBAs where response time is essential to that game. So it definitely can enhance. We've seen the fact that it does enhance. Some of the elements that relates to the immaturity of the ecosystem didn't show that at first, but we proved that it actually existed.
Okay, thank you very much. So we summarized the first block, and we'll switch to the second one, and that is focused on data, technology, and innovation. So let's move from foundation to tools. So it's very important because the innovations in the area of technologies are very important for us in everyday life, and data is everywhere that we didn't have it in the past. But we need to discuss now is it making us better or not? So I will switch to Danilo. What do you think? How is data used in football today? Can you compare it in the past and now? And what's the biggest gap between data collection and decision making? Do you think we improve it as it looks like on the first sight, or if you go inside, is it true that we have an impression from the outside?
Of course, data is much more valuable now than, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. So from some basic numbers, number of footballers, girls, boys, age, to the, I don't know, so core pitch data, everything is now important, very important for coaches, for assistants, for league analysts, for making strategic plans for development of FA, of clubs. So all FAs has some kind of system which they use for competition, for registration of players, something like that. So data today, collecting data today is one of the most important parts of the whole decision making in football. So that's why all of clubs, FAs, they invest a lot of money in their systems, they analysts. But on the other side, there is always that danger that it can be implemented in practice. So if you collect too much data, it can be also overwhelming. So you don't see the results on the pitch. So I think the most important task for all the decision makers, from the coaches to the presidents and general secretaries, are how to implement data they collect. So maybe not all data is useful, so choose one or more which you need and then implement. Don't focus on it. Don't go with all data to the players, to the coaches, because it can lose the focus easily.
What about making decisions? Do you think nowadays decisions are much better and stronger than in the past?
Of course, I think yes, because if you use right data, right informations, of course it's easier for you to make, I don't know, 5-year strategy plan or something like that, to develop grassroots football, to develop women's football, something like that. If you have more info, for you it's how to done.
But it's not promising. So if you have data, that doesn't mean that you can make all the time decisions.
Then nothing is for sure, but if you have right data, enough data, you're on the right way to your goal.
So if I understood well, nowadays we have so many opportunities, but decision is still on the human part that has to be made. Yeah, this was the main purpose of my question. So let's go to Mustafa now, just to change the order. Gaming and digital platforms generate massive behavioral data. How can this be used to improve real world performance? Actually, all the time we switching from real world to digital and back, but we need to make a balance. This is probably the most important issue we have to solve.
I do agree, and a lot of people have identified this issue. Back in 2020, I was working with the Saudi Esports Federation, and in one of our biggest tournaments, the Saudi League, we did a test where we installed monitors, heart monitors, sensors on our elite players while they're playing, for two purposes. First of all, we were tracking their blood pressure and heartbeats, and it was very interesting when you see how the heartbeat increases when they're in stressful scenarios. They're trying to clutch around or at the beginning of a new round, and when they're strategizing, so you can see the difference between being actually in-game and planning for one. The second purpose was for training. We would collect this data and see how, when the player is performing at his best performance, how his biometrics compare to when he's not. So we can anticipate when that happens in the next time. So depending on the data, we can see that, okay, in training, this guy is already fatigued. I don't think we can do more training sessions. Let's rest, call it a night, start fresh the next day. So a lot of the trainers were actually using this kind of data. It's still in its early stages. The full model wasn't scaled outside Saudi, but we've seen it in the Esports World Cup as well. And we in Healthy Gaming, we actually capitalizing that data for preventive purposes. It's important to understand how esports player and what they're going through while they're playing, and use that data to maintain their health and safety.
Thank you very much. And Radenko, is there a danger of over-reliance on data in sports science? This is the main question because we have much more data nowadays. Where should we draw the line? Should we stay focused on decisions or just use data and less think about some old-fashioned making decisions? Where is the line?
Thank you for this quite good question. I think yes. Yes. My response is a yes, because at this moment we have much more data than in the previous period. If we compare with 15 or 20 years ago, we measure with the pulse meter, with the subjective questionnaires, but at this moment we have opportunity to collect the data and every day, and we have opportunity and move and to make a big shift from occasional opportunities to measure in the lab. Today we have opportunity to measure in everyday routine. But from another perspective, we have a big collection of data and big data, and I always support to measure and to make a collection of data, but only as one kind of support. But the human judgment is so important, and I think that sport management need to keep a balance between sport management decision and how to use all of this data for making good decisions for development sport business and also sport as a field. So I always support collection data, but I also recommend cross-check three important issues. First one, subjective feeling of athletes. Second one is based on knowledge, conceptual knowledge of our coaches and their expertise. And the last one, real-time world performance outcome in that condition. So I support collection data, but human judgment is so important, and without competitive coaches and without great intuitions by athletes, I think that only in that type of foundations we can expect results.
Thank you very much. So let's go much more concrete. And this question, short question, will be directed to all of you. So if somebody wants to answer, just, if I ask you to choose elite coach or perfect data, who wins? What is the preference?
I mean,
I know the best is if we have both, but if you have to choose.
Yeah, I would definitely say elite coach first, because the first thing an elite coach will do is going to collect data. He's basically, he can't work without data, and if he doesn't have data, he's going to generate his own. By training sessions, by doing sprints through his team, the data always supports, but it's not the lead, it's not the only decision maker here. That's why we've seen people who have so much AI reliance fail. I do believe AI is a supporter rather than playing the founder role here. Human-centrics and the presence of a human coach that has experience will always prevail, will always understand when the AI is hallucinating, providing wrong data, and can also ask AI the right questions. That's why they need AI and data as an enabler.
Elite coach.
Okay, we are all on the same side, so humans should be in front. Okay, thank you very much. We're summarizing with this question the block 2 and switching to block 3 that is focused on application, gaps and future. So now let's connect everything, what actually works in practice. This is the most important. So we can do science, we can collect data, we can do all outside support, all outside support, but the most important is we apply it in practice well enough. So where's the biggest gap today? Knowledge, implementation, or resources? So let's start with Danilo. How do organizations balance performance pressure with long-term development?
Well, in football, like most sports, yes, results is what you want to achieve. So I don't know for football to go to some Euro or World Cup, but it's not so easy, especially for small associations. But as I may see from the seminars and workshops from UEFA member associations, everyone has some plan of work for 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, no matter. And most of it relies on result on the pitch, but behind that result on the pitch is a long and lot of work for administration, for coaches, with clubs, with society. And when you have structured approach, holistic approach, you will get to your goal, maybe not for 5 years, but for 7 or 10. So if you stick to your plan, which is of course based on some realistic measures, you will find a way to jump over the gap. But of course, result on the pitch is not always as you want it to be. As you can see, all these 2 teams, 11 on 11, so anything can happen. I see I don't know, some member associations of UEFA, they have tremendous work with grassroots footballers, with society, with environmental issues, but if their men's A team mostly don't qualify on Euro or World Cup, everything is like down. So if we change that perception of football associations, I think we will have much better view of what one organization is capable of doing.
So if we are much more focused on success and ignore the grassroots sports that do not promise in the future that
maybe
we will have in the sport.
For 1 year or 2 years, but for long term it's...
Yeah, so it's all the time it's about the balance. We
That's
want to get now or to get in the future. So to have some sustainable development. Yeah. So this is what we have to discuss today and what we must think all the time. Mustafa, what can traditional sports learn from gaming and digital ecosystem? This is what we want to know, because we 3 of us are coming from the other side.
Yes.
And we are very interested to find out it. And when it comes to engagement and performance.
Actually, this is a really, really good question. I really love it. A lot of people have been asking this. You know, esports is very interesting, especially for the young adults. And as an industry, it grew so fast. And we've seen how people recently are differing away from traditional sports. I mean, if you can check the Olympics, for example, their viewership is declining year by year. Even for football, it's still the biggest, I believe it will always be the biggest. But if you look at something like Kings League, if you've heard of it, Kings League is basically football but being more casual and more fun in a way with influencers. And I think in their second year they were able to fill the Camp Nou with 98,000 viewers in their final match of their tournament, which was like intense. They even broke Twitch with how many people were actually simultaneously watching that event. It's one of the biggest sports events in history, and it was for an IP that was only 2 years old. The reason of this growth, I believe, is real data. That's the only factor where esports is a bit ahead of all other traditional sports. Because the nature of esports is a bit more digitized, So it's easier, you can base it within the code of the game. So you can collect the data, you can edit it depending on what you need and the feedback you get from your players. So we can enhance a lot faster. To collect the same level of data from, for example, football players, we're required to have live monitors on their bodies, or like thermal cameras, which is very expensive, very difficult to actually implement, and not a lot of people are interested in it, for real. So if you compare these two, I do believe that traditional sports need to rely a little bit more on data. It will grow a lot faster. And we have seen that back in the 80s with baseball. Baseball was relatively the least amount of data collected, more of a hunch reliance on kind of sport. I mean, I do remember, because I was in the States and my dad was a huge baseball fan. A lot of the players would be ranked as a medium or low performance just because of the way they pitch. They don't look very appealing. Even though, if you check the data, their pitch speed is amazing, their performance is one of the best, and their price is really cheap, because no one was actually collecting this data. And there was a couple of people who realized that in the Red Sox, and they actually capitalized on this and won the World Series 2 years after that. So I do believe that it's harder for traditional sport to collect data and to be more digitalized, but I think it's essential. And as I said, it's really helpful when it comes to prevention. It's not just about giving the best performance and betting and trying to understand who will win. No, it actually helps you understand how players feel when you can anticipate injuries. So you can, for example, your coaches can use that to make sure that they prevent serious injuries. We've seen some people, unfortunately, had to lose their lives on the pitch. If we have enough data, we could have prevented that. But again, implementing it is a lot more expensive, a lot more difficult to do than esports.
When you grow up, what is in one sentence message to traditional sport? What they can learn from the digital side?
Yes, you definitely need to try to collect more data, try to digitalize your sport a little bit more. It will be beneficial to everyone in the ecosystem, whoever wants to be a professional and those who are already a professional.
In some of next panels, we can discuss what is vice versa.
Yes.
So we can help each other, right?
Of course.
This is the main goal of this. So Radenko, our education system keeping up with the need of modern performance science.
Okay. If I could continue on information and message of our colleagues, I think that great information and recommendation from e-sport came from message what market needs. It's after NBA League, e-sport is a great suggestion in a concept what market needs to put on the field of e-sport. I think it's a quite good strategy for us in traditional sports. But if I want to take a look back on your new question, I think that our curriculum is not quite good. We have it's not a problem of Western Balkan countries, it's a broader context problem, and maybe with some exact curriculum, but we need to adapt for future generation of sport professionals. We need to adapt our programs, integrate more practice in our curricula, integrate our sport entrepreneurship in our curricula, AI technology, and that it will be our future task for all of us. We have two genes I see in our audience, and in broader context, we need to change our curriculum and up to date every day, on everyday basis. And I think that we need to improve also and offer new courses for our students, but also for professors and lecturers at our sports science institutions, and that will be a good foundation for the future development of sports. Business and sports science.
If I understood well, so professors are too much in comfort zone, so they are not ready to adapt to very fast changing in the industry. So maybe this is the problem, because we are not ready to adapt ourselves to the requirements of the market.
Yes, from one
Or
side.
the point was something else, I don't know, I tried
To summarize,
Yes.
Yes, but the problems and changes are so progressive. It is not easy job for professors, but we need to find a way how to make a solution. During the PASTECHL conference in these 2 days, we speak that we have enough knowledge, but we need to find a solution how we transfer our knowledge to the field. It is new challenge for all of us, and I hope that we will respond it in the future.
Okay, and now we're slowly analyzing this panel, and I will open some questions for all of you. It's about future orientation. What the performance looks like in 5 to 10 years? What do you expect? Do you think the progress will be more fast, or it will slow down, or are we going to be able to follow it? We just started with the academic part, but what about the practice? What about the new areas of the sport, future sport? What do you expect in the future? It's a question for all of you.
I can start with, we can expect more digitization. At this moment we have digitalized sport, e-sport, digitalized recreation level, digitalized in the concept of sport tourism, but we need to focus on on the concept of sustainability also, and we need to from one side, it is very good for us in the concept of sports management because of making quality decisions. It's quite good opportunities, but from another side, we need to find a balance how to integrate smart data and but with human judgment as a last decision.
So each generation cannot be calm, all the time some new issues faced. What about you?
Like I said, it's got to be sustainable, because not all the progress is a good progress, especially with all development of AI and technologies. To be honest, I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 or 10 years, but if we stick to some land decision plan, if we stick to that, I think we will have some sustainable development without some unwanted outcomes.
So AI is something that is unknown for everybody of us. So will AI replace the parts of coaching, or just support it? I know how it's affecting the traditional sport. What about digital sport? Is it that affecting digital sport more or less than traditional sport?
Actually, yes, AI did affect esports as well, and I believe that it might have done that a bit more extensively than the other sports. Because of the amount of data that we have in esports, AI were able to, within the first couple of years of it being introduced to the esport world, we've seen a lot of shifts in players actually, not just performance, but even their contracts. The value of some players rose immensely because of how good they were actually playing, but that wasn't really shown unless the data showed that we actually need this kind of game style, or this kind of risk-taking players. And these metrics or these specifications were not even identified in the world of esports before. We only thought that, yeah, for example, especially for team games, you just need to have a specific set of skills, you need to have fast response time, you need to have a game sense, you need to have good communication. But then AI introduced a couple of more interesting new type of data. That this kind of a player, whenever he plays this character, he's more risk-taking, which means he knows this player these characters a little bit more. So depending on the metas are the set of characters that are the strongest at every specific season. They would select specific players because of how much time they spend playing those characters. And this could fluctuate depending on every season. This kind of data was never going to happen without AI. We always had the data, but just to process it in that specific way was unique. So definitely AI made things a lot easier, and made it a lot actually faster to understand how you can see the repercussions of it in the world, in actual tournaments.
And Maria, if we have more time, 5 minutes, okay, before we offer audience to ask the questions, I will finalize the third block for all 3 blocks with the final question. Are we getting better athletes or just more optimized one? You mentioned so many changes, but
yeah.
What is the...
I do believe that we're going to get better athletes. I do believe the fact that we are focusing more on prevention, and I've seen that in the world of esports at least, will create not just better athletes, but better performers, and for a longer period of time. And the more we do that, the more data we have, the more in the future we're going to also learn new values of how this can affect our players. So yes, and on an accelerated pace actually.
Better athletes. At this moment we can see in many different sports long-term careers of many famous athletes. So definitely better athletes in my opinion.
Because they use new technologies, new ways for recoveries, for way of training. So we have, for now, we have better athletes.
Thank you very much. I just have one comment. I'm afraid that we will lose the basic mission of sport. This is some question that I'm not going to open today, but it should be somewhat sometime in the future. Okay, because we have audience and many questions raised during the conference. I don't know if you have it. Okay, I expect it from Selçuk that will ask. Do we have a microphone over there? Or?
That's okay.
I think we are recorded, so... Okay, I'll give you a microphone.
So, thanks for the panel. It's an important issue, and it is inevitable. I mean, we need to live together with the technology, and we need to use the technology in a proper way in the sports science and also the sports culture. So my question is going to go to Mustafa. I just wanted to ask you a question, Mustafa. When you were replying one question, you said that, for instance, we collect data from the players, from the e-sport players, especially their reaction time, decision making, things like that. So they are like very important perceptual abilities for sports also. But regarding the e-sport, when you are playing e-sport, what do you think how the speed of the internet influence your reaction time or your decision making?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. Esports has its own challenges. It has its own set of difficulties that you would see in other sports. For example, one of the benefits is you can play from anywhere against anywhere on earth, but then if you want to actually practice that in actual life. You can't do it because of latency issues, internet issues, and that's why you see the biggest events, like where we are right now. We prefer to get all the players in one location, same space, so it's fair to everyone. Because no matter how ready you want to be, there are always some lag spikes. Some you detect, some you can't, that would affect milliseconds, that would actually affect players. So esports is a lot more susceptible to that kind of challenges. Data does help with that. I mean, I remember Google back in 2024, they introduced a program, they called it negative latency. It did really help a lot. It's not implemented in all games. Some of the games like Counter-Strike 2 that's newly been developed are using this kind of model. It would help eliminate the, we call it the connection time to server. Because it's not just about latency. For example, some games like shooter, there's a concept called peak advantage. Whoever peaks last will always have an advantage. Why? Whoever's showing some last will always have an advantage because he will get the information from the server that his enemy in front of him before the enemy will get his information. And that, even if you are playing on the same LAN, you're still going to have that. Because that's a structural issue with the games, and you can't deny that. It's not about lag, it's just about how the game is moderated. But then again, players' performance and the level that they've reached over the years taught us that some game sense, especially for these kind of players, because it's more of a team player, you can eliminate that, you can reduce it, but you can never eliminate it.
So it's not fair this time. If you are playing online, it may not be fair.
But it may not be fair if you are playing online games.
Yes, that's why what you usually do for all esports tournaments, you have two types of qualifications for online. First, you start with the whole world competing on a country level. You don't want to go on a regional level, on a continental level. You start only at a country level. You get the best of every country, and then you do a continental mode, when possible, continental online tournament. And the last stage is always offline. You always need to get your people, everyone in the same stage, because that's as fair as it gets for esports.
Yeah, thank you. And the other thing, the second question, similar to this one, but for instance, for the talent identification, we have, for instance, reaction time and decision making, very important in the esport. So, do you use this kind of, test or like abilities for the talent identification in esport?
Yeah, that actually hits with the elite coach question, because always coaches, they have access to this type of data. In most games, most publishers, they have that kind of data readily available for anyone. You don't need to get buy it or ask for it. It's there available for free. So they do have access to the community. They know what kind of player they need, because in just like in traditional sport, you have a defender, you have an attacker, you have a middle line. So not all of them have the same performance level. None of them have the same tactics that they need, or the same skills. That also applies to esport in a less subtle way, not within the same nuances, but less subtle. So the coach needs to understand what kind of skills is needed. They will go to the data, which is readily available. They read exactly what kind of data matters to that position, and based on that, they make their informed decision.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you for the involvement of the audience, because this makes panel more successful. With those two questions, we're finalizing this panel discussion. Or you?
Yeah, so quick question. I'll try to make it short. So when it comes to optimizing, I hear a lot about optimizing in sports, but rarely hear about longevity in sports. And we see recently a lot of sports players in real sports, because I'm not really expert for esports. So a lot of players, because of over-optimizing, sometimes end their lives too soon. So how about, where do you see optimizing when it comes to longevity of sports players, and how does it translate to longevity when it comes to, how does it translate to regular life? Thanks.
Can you say who is the one of the panelists you ask for?
Yeah, so it's an open-ended question for all of you.
You choose who will answer.
Yeah, of course. So, esport, as I said, is a still young ecosystem. We do have our challenges. Longevity is one of the issues. But if you look at it, most of the countries still, you cannot find an esport player as a career path or a role. No one have yet to develop that. We started working on this in Saudi back in 2022. Because in order to have a contract with an esport player, you need to have the Ministry of Human Resources, for example, our case in Saudi Arabia, to identify esport player as a career, as a role that you can actually choose so you can have a contract related to them. And in most countries, that ecosystem is not yet developed. That's why you need to not just be a player, so what happens after that? And we've seen this in sports as well. You want to be either a coach, or you want to be, for example, in esports, there are some people who go to streaming. There are multiple paths where you can actually get revenues from sport, not just being a player. And we've seen a lot of, one of the biggest players, for example, Tens, Shred, these are very successful players who left at the peak of their career because they found that if I do streaming, I can get a lot more financial returns than what I'm doing with esports, and it's a lot easier. So the full ecosystem of the career path is not yet developed, but I believe it will be fully matured within the next few years.
Okay, thank you very much, and this is finally end. Thank you very much for your patience, and I'm officially closing this panel discussion. Thanks to the panelists and thanks for the audience and your great attention and questions. Thank you very much.